Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Which is to say, in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of the Heavenly Father, meaning He is, Bahashem, and the name Yahweh Shai. He is our salvation, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, a so-called black man. Babylon, a.k.a. America, ambiance, is its allure. Babylon, also known as America spiritually, ambiance is its allure. Okay? So America, which is spiritually Babylon, is ambiance, is its allure. Now we're going to go into these words, ambiance and allure, and get the definition on it. This is ambiance.
Ambience.
Ambience. And the definition is the character and atmosphere of a place. So the character and the atmosphere of a place, and this place, speaking of America, which is spiritually Babylon, its ambiance is that you can, do whatever you want. You can, be free to do whatever you want. Sin is not a problem. Everybody is treated equal. You should have your fair share, your equal opportunity to do whatever you want to do, to get that bag, as they say. So everybody has a fair chance to, come up here in America. So now let's go to the word allure. Okay, this is the word allure.
Allure.
And it reads, the quality of being powerfully and mysteriously attractive or fascinating. And that's what the other countries find so, allure about Babylon the Great, which is America, is that, you can be free to do whatever you want, because coming from there on land, there's restrictions and things that you can and cannot do. But coming over here to Babylon, you can get away with just about anything, and you can basically build a small empire off of, doing whatever you want to do. That's the allure of Babylon, which is this ambience. So it says the quality of being powerfully and mysteriously attractive or fascinating. And that's what, drives people to come here to America, the land of the free to do whatever you want to do. There's no repercussion. That's why America, Babylon, is so sought after. That's why people come from all over the world to come to America to get the piece of the pie, as they say. Because they can do whatever they want that they couldn't necessarily do in the land that they come from. Okay, so let's go into some scriptures and let's get it. This is out of the book of Isaiah 47, and it reads, the headline is Lament for Babylon. Verse 1, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. And Chaldeans, they were known for a lot of, magic, casting spells and stuff like that. They were known for that science stuff. And, Babylon is known for relying completely on its science, to try to disprove the faith. They'll go on science saying how, a big bang created the whole universe, in opposition of the Most High. That's all Babylon is, man. It's a complete opposition, adversary against the Most High, Yahweh. Okay, so it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Right, for the longest, America was looked at as, as this place or this beacon of light for people to come from across the world, to come get their fair shot at, the piece of the pie, to come up. But now it's being revered and it's being reverenced for what it truly is. It's being uncovered. It's just a place where it's inhabited, a lot of iniquity. So it says, verse 2, take the millstones and grind meal, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Right, so through the Holy Spirit being brought out, and put on the servants, the prophets of the Most High, they are uncovering this place in its allure, its ambience. It's showing for what it truly is, a deceivingness. It's all, what do they say, glitz and glamour. There's no substance backing it. It's not backed on how they tried to portray it for the longest, as a Christian country. No, it's based on, the fact that it was built on blood. It was shedded on blood. So this place is being revealed for what it is. So it says, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. So when Yahweh comes back, which is the right hand of the Most High Yahweh, he's not going to meet this place as a man. He's coming back in an angelic force. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit thou silent and get into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. So this place was once called, and they have a statue in New York City called Statue of Liberty, which is going into idol worship as well. But for the longest, this place was like a beacon of hope for the other people of the other nations to come and make something of themselves where they could come up and, build here and then take back to their land. But this place is slowly but surely, getting revealed and is being torn down, and it's getting ready to come to its complete cycle. So the ambience of Babylon, which is this allure, is being revealed, and this place is getting ready to be dismantled. So let's go to Habakkuk 2 verse 4, and it reads, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Right, and this soul that is not lifted up right is speaking of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the self-proclaimed white man, and he gave his own self that name. There's nothing pure about him, So, behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. But the just shall live by his faith. Who is his faith? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Verse 5. Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, which is part of the allure. He has these other countries to drink the wine of his philosophies, which is what? Democracy being one, and Christianity being, another one. He is a proud man, and you can read about that in Obadiah, gives you the characteristics and the traits of Esau, Edom. And we may go in there and read that verse. It says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. He doesn't have a place that he could call his own, so he has to venture off into other people's territory and force his sanctions on them, or force his philosophies or his beliefs, and because he lives by the sword, he forces that sword on them. If they don't abide to what his sanctions are, then he can set up his military. And that's one of the blessings of Esau, Edom, is that Isaac gave him the blessing of the sword. So it says, yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine, and the sword is the modern day, is the modern day military, his arsenal, his weaponry. So it says, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Verse 5, who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. So he, even though he's the smallest among the heathen, he's gathering to himself all nations because he transgresses by that wine. He has these other nations to drink that cup of wine, that his philosophies. So they are, under the same belief that he is, because he's forcing down his beliefs, his philosophies on them by the way of his military. So a lot of these other nations, they seething to get back at him, which is why, I may be jumping ahead of the lesson, but it's why, and Jeremiah said, all you that bend the bow, take it and get ready. See, these other nations, they getting fed up with Esau Edom, man. His allure, his ambience is being, revealed, is wearing off. And that's through the power of the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, that this guy is being seen for who he is. And this is all working in accordance with the Holy Scriptures. So that's why you're seeing the uptake of these BRIC nations, adding on more and more to these different countries, because now they're going to start, dealing between each other. And they're not going to use the USD currency, the dollar currency anymore, or rely heavily on it as they once did. They're going to trade in between, their countries. And one of the big players being Saudi Arabia, that's heavily who relied on the petrodollar for the longest, which is how the U.S. held its hegemony or its power as the world reserve currency, through the petrodollar. So it says, yea also because, verse 5, yea also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man. Let's go there in Obadiah while we speaking on it. Obadiah 1 and verse 2, it says, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. And that's why these other countries despise this guy, because we're going to read it. 3, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, and that's the reason why, because his pride. Esau Edom is a very proudful man. It says, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And that's the sentiment of Esau Edom. Who should bring him down to the ground with this great military that he has that's backing him? Through NATO, EU, who's going to bring him down? They look at BRICS and they laugh. They look and say, how can something as trivial as the BRICS, which is an acronym for Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, plus the 20 countries that he just added on, how could something so trivial of insignificance bring me down? That's how Esau Edom mindset is. He's a proudful man. So it says, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. That's right, because at one point they were in the Caucasian mountains. That's how they live. They like to live and place their place of residence high into the clouds. That's why you see all these skyscrapers here, because Esau Edom is comfortable living in the clefts of the rocks. So it says, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And it's, not ironic, but poetic how Esau Edom, speaking of the so-called white man, when he set his nest up into the sky, speaking of his satellite, when he went up into when he went up into the atmosphere, he never went to the heavens. He went to right there in the atmosphere. When he put his satellites up there, then that's around the same time that the truth started to come out. back in the 60s. So it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, when he went up and put his satellite among the heavens, the stars, because he's never been to the heavens, the fourth dimension. You know, he's never been to no moon. He's never been to these other planets. You know, the farthest he's ever been was right there to the atmosphere. So he set his satellite up there. So it says, though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And ever since, he's been coming down, and he's getting ready to completely be pulled down, which is spoken of in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, you know, basically saying Esau is the end of this world and Jacob is the beginning of that coming, you know. And it was prophesied that Jacob was going to grab Esau's heel and pull. So Jacob representing the 12 tribes of Israel, you so-called blacks, Latino, and Native Americans, and then the rest scattered abroad, going back through the patrilineal lineage, you know, that's Jacob, Israel. So through the power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, he's sending his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, from the tribe of Judah to, you know, finish this man off, man, and take him down completely out of rulership. Spoken of in Isaiah the 63rd chapter. Who is that coming from Basra? Garments dyed in blood, like if it was a wine press. So this man is getting ready to be completely taken out of rulership power, man. His ambiance, which is his Lord, is over. It's damn near at his end. So going back to Habakkuk 2 and verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long? And that's the sentiment of these other nations. They like, how long is this small, not even been around that long nation going to continue to take what is not his? But they don't know this is all part of prophecy, you know? So it says, and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay, the end of verse 6, verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? And that's going into Jeremiah, the 50th chapter. Verse 14. And it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. Speaking of all these other countries, you know. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows. And those arrows are representation today of what? The missiles, the ICBM missiles. You know, this is what Jeremiah saw back then. Today is the missiles. For she have sinned against Yahweh, you know, and we're going to get into that, reading the rest of this chapter in Habakkuk 2. So Jeremiah 50 verse 14 says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, with the capability of bending the bow. You have the silems, where the missiles go in. The silems represent the bow. The bow is what you put the arrow in to pull back, to release. Shoot at her. Spare no arrows. See? So get rid of all your arsenal. All the missiles you have, let it go on Babylon. Release them. You know? And this is the judgment that we're going to read that's coming to Babylon for what it's done. So let's read this one more time. Jeremiah 50 verse 14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about. That's why Babylon, which is America, is going to be that lake of fire, because all these countries are going to spare no expense at releasing their missiles on Babylon. It's going to set this whole place, encompass this whole land, which is America, with nuclear missile you know, armory. From sea to shining sea, America's going to be set on fire. It's going to look like a lake of fire. Looking from the bird's eye view from the chariots, looking down, you're going to see America. It's going to look like a lake of fire. So it says, put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she hath sinned against Yahweh. Now let's go back to Habakkuk 2 and pick up where we left off at. Verse 7, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them? Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. You know, and they're going to spoil thee. They're going to put that bow, put them arrows to work. Because of man's blood, and for violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein. You know, in Babylon, speaking of America, when they set up these sanctions in these other countries, you know, they come in, they take over, and if the other countries don't, you know, comply to whatever demands they set, then they send their military over there to shed blood. You know, this is a characteristic, a trait of Esau Edom. He lives by the sword. Speaking of his modern day military. Verse 9, woe to him that coveteth an evil covenants to his house, that he may set his nest on high. We read that in Obadiah. That he may be delivered from the power of evil. 10, though thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people, and hast sinned against thy soul. Verse 11, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer it. Speaking of that stone, we know being Yahushua, you know, crying out of the wall, spoken of his elect. You know, he's a mediating between, you know, the elect and the Most High Yahweh. So he's mediating on our behalf, you know. And it says, for the stone shall cry out of the wall, and the beam out of the timber shall answer. And those chariots, those beams are going to come down and answer, you know, once the Most High give him the go ahead to come back down. You know, those beams are going to do what they supposed to do. Verse 12, woe to him that buildeth a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity. And that's how Babylon, that's how America was built, on the back of the Israelites. They shedded blood. You know, they built this place up on blood. There's a lot of killing that took place to make America what it is today. And then on top of that, it's compound sin on top of sin. It has had Jacob, which is later changed its name to Israel, Yasharallah, which is a people before it's a place. It has compounded and continually to, you know, make Israel sin and sin and sin until the time of its fulfillment, when we will start to wake up out of our transgressions. So it says 12, woe to him that build a town with blood, and establish a city by iniquity, which is how Babylon did it with his ambiance, which is his allure. You know, it gave you things that seemed right, but in actuality was wrong according to the word of the Most High. 13, behold, is it not for Yahweh of hosts that the people shall labor in their very fire, and the people shall weary themselves for very vanity? 14, for the earth shall be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh as the waters cover the sea. That's completely. Once the Israelites come and take over, the whole earth is going to be filled with the knowledge of the glory of Yahweh. 15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunken also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. You know, and that's exactly what Esau Edom did, you know. He accused his brethren, you know, and tried to get him drunk and say, look at him, Most High. They sinned, so why should they be allowed to, be delivered or be saved? So for the longest, we were sinning unaware. But like it said, excuse me, in 2 John, the 2nd chapter, the 19th verse, let's go there. This is Yahushua speaking. Slakia. This is Yahushua speaking. St. John 2, verse 19. Yahushua answered and said unto them, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. So we in that third day of being raised up. So now prophecy is being fulfilled. Esau, Edom can no longer accuse us of what we doing before the Heavenly Father. Because it's spoken of in Revelation, the 12th chapter. Let's start at verse 9. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. Speaking of Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And this is not talking about Satan was thrown down out of the heaven. That's all hogwash, man. This is talking about the battle that's going to go on once Yahushua comes back to meet these people, not as a man. Their military, their air force, is going to come up against him. So it says, verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Christ, Hamashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down. And that's the accuser of our brethren, which is Esau, Edom, because Jacob and Esau were brothers. They weren't identical, but they were brothers. So Esau has been accusing Jacob, for the longest. But when Yahushua comes back down, he's going to cast them down. So Esau, which is, the so-called white man, has been constantly having, Jacob drunken off of his wine. And his biggest wine that he had Jacob drinking, speaking of, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, was that Christianity. Worshiping a false idol. Caesar Borgia, Jesus Christ. They mixed the two together. And then they gave you Christianity. But we're going to get that in Habakkuk 2. So let's read that and then let's go back. Verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. So Esau, Edom, has accused Jacob by having him drink of that cup, that wine, day and night, up until that third day when we will start to awake. We've been sinning ever since. So back to Habakkuk 2. In verse 15, woe unto him that giveth his neighbor drink, that puttest thy bottle to him, and makest him drunk also, that thou mayest look on their nakedness. And that's what Esau Edom done. He has looked on our nakedness. Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also. So he's going to drink that too. And let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee. Speaking of Yahushua. And shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. Right. 17. For the violence of Lebanon shall cover thee, and the spoil of beasts which made them afraid because of men's blood and for the violence of the land of the city and of all that dwell therein. 18. What profiteth the graven image that the maker thereof hath graven it? The molten image and a teacher of lies, that the maker of his work trusteth therein to make dumb idols. And we're going to go into this, verse 19. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, which is the cross, awake, to the dumb stone, which is the cobble, which is the religion Islam. Arise, it shall teach. And these are the two main religions that our people are found in: Christianity and Islam. It shall teach, behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. And ironically, these two religions is the most making money for Esau Edom. Okay, the so-called or the self-proclaimed white man. These two religions, the wood and the stone, is what make him the most money. And by us waking up out of these deep sleeps, we are causing him to lose money. And not just causing him to lose money, but also to have him be revealed of who he is. Let's go there in 2 Thessalonians. Chapter 2 and verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. And Esau Edom is that son of perdition. He's being revealed. Verse 4. Who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called the Most High, or that is worshipped. Here it is. So that he, as the Most High, sitteth in the temple of the Most High, showing himself that he is the Most High. And that's the proudness of Esau Edom. He wants to sit and be considered as himself as the Most High. That's why he gave Christianity and that fake image of Jesus, which is Savior Bozir, and had the world believing that's who the world was worshiping. When in actuality they weren't worshiping Yahweh Shai, they was worshiping an image set up by the Roman Catholic Church. And the same thing goes with the cobblestone. The two main religions, Christianity and Islam, which ironically makes the most money for the Roman Catholic Church, which is head speared by Esau Edom. So going back to Habakkuk 2 and revealing the ambiance, which is the allure of Babylon the Great, reading verse 17. No, we was at verse 19. Woe unto him that saith to the wood, awake, to the dumb stone, arise, it shall teach. Behold, it is laid over with gold and silver, and there is no breath at all in the midst of it. These two fake religions, there's no life in it. You're not going to find salvation and deliverance out of it. Wake up. Babylon the Great ambiance, which is his allure, is wearing off. It's a wrap. It's over with. If you can't see that, then you're going to have to suffer the consequences that come along with it, which is going to be those ICBM missiles coming to America that we read in Jeremiah the 50th chapter, the 14th verse. Verse 20 of Habakkuk 2. But Yahweh is in his holy temple. Let all the earth keep silence before him. Okay, so with that being said, Babylon's, which is America, ambience, it's allure, it's over with. It's a wrap. So if you want to continue to put yourself in accordance or agreement with Babylon, which is spiritually America, then go ahead. But you're going to get the judgment that's coming along with it too. That's why it's spoken of in Revelation, the 18th chapter. Let's read these two verses. Verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, speaking of Babylon the Great, which is America. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So like we said in the beginning, these other countries came over to get rich off the delicacies of Babylon the Great, which is America, which is his people, which is the Israelites, that this place, this city, this country was built off of. A lot of countries got rich off of delicacies. Now that we waking up, they not seeing the profit or the benefit as they once did, which is now going to cause them to trade amongst their own, you know, and eventually it's going to cause them to gather up and bend their bow and let go of their arrows and say to hell with this place. That's it. But it's all going to be sanctioned under the prophecies of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah. So here it is, verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not her plagues. So if you don't come out of her, you're going to receive her plagues when those missiles come. You're not going to hear that voice saying, come up out of her and get caught up into the chariot so you don't be, you know, left down here with the 2/3 and the other heathen nations that's going to get judgment for its iniquity, speaking of Babylon that built a city or a town on blood. So if you continue to stay in Babylon's ambiance, which is his allure, and get caught up when it's time to leave, then that's going to be on you. But make no mistake about it, Babylon is going to be judged, which is America, for all its iniquity. So let's go ahead and close out in 1 Peter 5 and verse 8. And it reads, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, we read that in Revelation 12, which is speaking of Esau, Edom, that old serpent, which was from the Garden of Eden, came back as that dragon. Revelation is the devil, which deceived the whole world. So it says, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. And if he can continue to get you to fall for his allure through his ambience, you know, giving you a facade of this place being built on Christianity, and it's the most beautiful place in the whole world, and there's nothing wrong with it up until the time that those missiles come, then he's going to try by all means necessary to continue to get you to fall for the allure of the ambience of Babylon the Great, which we read in Isaiah the 47th chapter is being revealed. Also in 2 Thessalonians the 2nd chapter, 3rd verse. So this is the time, you know, to wake up. Speaking of in Romans the 13th chapter, 11th verse. Let's go there. Romans 13 and verse 11. In that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than we believe. It's even nearer than we believe. When we believe, it's right here, so it's even nearer than that. But Esau, Edom, the devil, the so-called white man, the self-proclaimed white man, is going to get you to believe that it's farther away than it is. Through his gins, through his snares, through his traps, he's looking to catch as many people as he can. That's why we read in 1 Peter, be sober. That's one of the key things. You got to be sober, and you can't be sober unless you're in this truth. Be vigilant. You got to continue to be sober. Continue to stay in this truth. Do the work. Do it diligently. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And he's going to look and try to get you to believe something contrary to what it says in the Bible as much as he can up until the last second. Okay? So be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And he's used his chief magicians, scientists, whatever you want to call them, preachers, whatever, to give you that false sense of security that you've been on Christianity, Islam, just to name a few of his different ways how he gets you to drink his wine, his philosophies, his doctrines, his, democracy, to get you to vote. All this is part of his allure. Chase the bag till you can't see what you're doing, putting wages in bags with holes, not saying that you can't get the bag, but when you put it to an extent where you chase it more than you chase this truth, then you showing that you got a love for money. Okay? So Esau Edom's gonna give you all the riches of this world to get you to fall further away from the truth. Up until that time where those missiles come and that judgment. But before then, the famine of the world gonna hit and you ain't gonna know what's going on. You see? So this thing is all intricately planned out by Esau Edom, how to get as many of us as he can. Speaking of Israelites, but he's not gonna be able to get the elect because they've been given to Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai from the beginning. So there's nothing he can do to get those. But as far as the other 2/3, he's looking to get as many as he can before the missiles come. Okay? So we have to be sober, be vigilant. Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. And that's exactly what he want to do, devour. So with that being said, hopefully someone was able to get something from this. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We almost home. Shalom.